You might think marriage is romantic. You might think it's about love. But here's the actual truth. Marriage was invented as a brutal solution to a brutal problem, and almost everything we believe about its origins is wrong. See, when we imagine the origins of marriage, we picture something almost noble. Two people choosing each other, making a commitment. But the historical record tells a completely different story. And once you understand what marriage actually was designed to do, you'll never think about it the same way again. Let's start with what most people get wrong. They think marriage emerged because humans discovered love and wanted to formalize it. That's backwards. Love came after marriage, not before. Marriage came first because humans had a resource problem. Here's the situation. In early human societies, women had something men desperately needed: the ability to produce the next generation. But reproduction wasn't just about biology, it was about survival. A tribe with more children had more hunters, more gatherers, more warriors. More people meant more collective strength, and whoever controlled access to women controlled the future of their group. This created a crisis. Young men vastly outnumbered the available women. Wars broke out constantly. Tribes raided each other not for gold or land, but for women. The violence was systematic, it was devastating, and it was unsustainable. So societies did something radical. They invented marriage as a peace treaty between groups. Here's how it worked. Instead of fighting over women, tribes would exchange them. Your group gives us one of your women, we give you one of ours, and boom, suddenly you have a reason not to kill each other. You're related now, you have a shared interest in peace. This is why marriage ceremonies across virtually every ancient culture involve the same core element: a transaction, a bride price, a dowry, an exchange of goods. Because marriage wasn't about romance, it was about economics and survival. It was a business deal with legal implications. And here's what's particularly brutal: the women didn't have a choice, not in any meaningful sense. They were property being transferred between male dominated groups. Their consent wasn't even a concept that mattered. Marriage was something that happened to them, not something they chose. But the story gets more interesting because of what happened next. Over thousands of years, something shifted. Humans are incredibly adaptable creatures. We can take an institution built on coercion and gradually transform it into something else. And marriage is the perfect example of that transformation. As societies became more stable, as agriculture created wealth and hierarchy, marriage evolved. It became about consolidating power within groups. Royal families married to secure alliances. Noble houses married to protect bloodlines and property. The institution adapted to serve whatever the dominant power structure needed at any given moment. What's fascinating is that love gradually became a feature of marriage, not a requirement. Medieval marriage was often between people who'd never met. The couple would be informed of their arrangements, the ceremony would happen, and that was that. Love was something that might develop later or might not. It was irrelevant to the institution itself. It wasn't until the 1700s and 1800s, during the Enlightenment and the Romantic era, that love actually became a central justification for marriage in Western culture. For the first time in human history, marriage began to be framed as something people did because they wanted to, because they loved someone, rather than because their tribe needed them to. Even that shift wasn't universal or instant. Arranged marriages persisted in most cultures well into the modern era, and they still exist in many places today. The idea that marriage should be based on mutual affection is actually one of the newest innovations in the entire history of human relationship structures. So here's what we're left with. Marriage is an institution that was invented to stop men from killing each other over reproductive access. It transformed women into property that could be exchanged for peace. It evolved into a tool for consolidating power and wealth, and only in the last couple of centuries did it become associated with love and choice. That doesn't mean modern marriage is bad. It means it's the product of this long, complicated history. Every marriage today exists within the shadow of what marriage used to be, and understanding that history changes how you understand the institution itself. The brutal truth is that marriage wasn't invented because humans fell in love. It was invented because humans needed a system that would let them live together without constantly fighting. Love came later. Choice came later. Everything we associate with marriage as a romantic ideal came much, much later. And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's actually kind of incredible that we took this violent, coercive institution and gradually transformed it into something based on love and choice. That transformation didn't happen by accident. It happened because people demanded something better. But it's important to know what we're transforming from, because that tells you how far we've actually come.